mushrooms are beneficial to the environment, to our health, and possibly to your wallet. I'm Gabe, the pastoralist, and I'm going to share with you the lessons I've learned from my first foray into growing mushrooms on logs. I made a couple of mistakes that I'd like to help you avoid. My first mistake was underestimating how much time it would take to cut and gather all these logs. The easiest thing I found to do is simply punch your holes straight down the top on one. I'll go ahead and do that real quick, at least on a couple. And then, because you want to do a diamond pattern, come along, just roll the log just slightly, and instead of now working directly from the top, come in at a little bit of an angle. This enables you to see these holes here and be right in the middle to get that diamond pattern on this next pass. Then of course when you're done, you simply roll the log over. That'll get all of the shavings out of the holes and enable you to fill it with the spawn. And what this looks like, so this ends up looking like that. And you're just alternating the holes all the way down. But that's the easiest way to handle them that I have found. You really need a pair of sawhorses to do this conveniently. Once I'd used up all the shiitake and lion's mane sawdust spawn, I still had some logs left, and so I thought, hey, I'll try something a little different, both in the variety of mushroom that I put in, and also a different application method. And so I went with the the plug spawn. Sorry, there's thimble, plug, and peg, and they're all a little bit different. I went with the plug spawn, and those have a different hole size. They're a little bit smaller than the ones used with the thumb inoculators and the sawdust spawn. So, as you can see, it took me a lot longer to drill these holes. This drill bit is the worst mistake I've made. I failed to order the right size bit because I didn't read carefully, and this is horrible. I has regrets. Once you cut open the bag, stir it up thoroughly. This is the thumb inoculator that they give you with the kit. So you simply stab it around, and then when you press on the thumb portion, it pushes out a little bit of spawn. And you can see on the sides of the bag, this stuff is already starting to grow. And I'm going with the shiitake first. I'll do the lion's mane next.
That's suspicious.
One unexpected benefit of going with these plugs is that you can get a group pounding these in and really cut down on the time in applying them. Whereas it's pretty much one person at a time when you're using the sawdust spawn, because it requires a special inoculating tool. Also, that tool costs about 40 bucks, so that's something to consider. The big advantage of the sawdust spawn in general is that it's the cheapest way to buy that stuff in bulk, and if you're going to be doing a lot, then you want to go with that. But if you're just going to do a small test run, then you probably just want to go with these plugs and hammer them in. But it was great to be able to involve the kids, and it's something they can do, and who doesn't love using a hammer and whacking stuff in. So one thing to consider there, which way you go. My third mistake was that I didn't order the wax applicator simply because I forgot. It's very cheap and there's no reason not to. It's also much faster. The paintbrush is not only a little bit slower, it's also very wasteful. You have to use a lot more wax to get it on there. It's harder to use. If it seems like it's a little bit slower with the wax applicator, that's because we've switched here to the plug spawn, which is what I ordered for the reishi, just to do something different. And the plugs are a lot harder to see than the sawdust spawn. They're just a lot smaller. They blend in with the bark, and they're just, you have to really look for them, and it does take a little more time. But overall, the wax applicator makes things much better. Much better than the brush. The paintbrush is a bad idea.